Today's video is advanced techniques for braking, or braking techniques for advanced drivers. People often wonder what we mean when we speak about advanced driving, and the great majority of people think it isn't worthwhile. But one of the great benefits of this particular braking technique is that it can save money. It saves money because it reduces the wear on your brake pads in the first place. My mechanic tells me that brake pads normally go between 15 and 18,000 miles. But if you use this technique, your brake pads will last much longer. And of course, in consequence, your discs, if you don't wear your brake pads down too much. The discs, of course, can be very expensive. The other saving is tyre wear. The more you apply this braking technique, the less wear and tear there will be on your tyres, which is another saving. And also it cuts down petrol consumption. You're not using your brakes so much, you're not using so much petrol, you're not accelerating so aggressively, and so that you're saving money on tyres, brake pads and petrol. There is also a safety angle. By adjusting your speed earlier, which we'll discuss in a moment, you give other drivers more time to see what you're planning to do, more time to react. It does make a much smoother ride for your passengers. You've no doubt been with people, as have I, and it's like being at Alton Towers, the way the brakes and the gas are used. So this technique will make for a much smoother drive, much more pleasant ride for your passengers. One of the critical things to get the braking right is good forward observation. As I've mentioned on other videos, eyes on main beam, because what you're wanting to do is react earlier to problems developing ahead, and the more you're looking ahead, the more up, as it were, the higher your visual horizon, the sooner you're going to pick up on difficulties and give you time to react earlier, which is really the heart of it all, so that you're not braking at the last minute. You're actually reducing your braking, you're accelerating earlier, so that your brakes are not having to work so hard. So I've got some traffic lights coming up. I've checked my mirror, first thing to do always, of course. There's a car following me. I'm off the gas already. I'm just gently applying the brakes, very, very gently. The car behind's not pressurising me, and my plan is, if I can, to keep the car moving, because that's less wear and tear on the brakes, it's less petrol. But it's not going to happen this time. Yes, it is. We're into first, we're checking the mirrors, and we're away. So that's a good rule to begin with. Always plan to keep the car moving when it's possible, to use as little braking as possible, to rely on things like gradients, engine braking by coming off the accelerator, but also keep in mind that you don't want to be annoying other drivers by slowing too early. So I've got green lights ahead, I'm checking the mirror, the car behind is well back. There's every chance I'll get through here in one go. We need to plan our approach carefully to lights so that we're not braking hard, of course. Neither do we want to be approaching too slowly. Now, there's no one waiting at this crossing, so I'm not like having to brake. It's all really, the primary thing is to be looking carefully at what's going on, planning what you're going to do in good time so that you're reacting early. Now, I've got a roundabout coming up. I've checked my mirror and I'm off the gas already. Now I can take this roundabout almost certainly third. Looking early to the right, no problems over there. Haven't touched the brakes. Mirrors, signal to leave the roundabout. So obviously, as you're looking ahead, you're seeing the problems developing, you're seeing the hazards ahead. You're always going to check your mirror as well, because if sometimes some situations you slow really early, you might annoy the vehicle behind. So I've got a queue of traffic, so I'm braking a little bit earlier this time. I can't rely solely on engine braking here. Looking across the roundabout, I'm always planning to keep the car moving if possible. Now it looks like I've got an opportunity here, so across we go, checking the mirrors, signal to leave the roundabout. Checking the crossing out immediately. There's a vehicle threatening on the left. I'm just keeping an eye on him, but I'm safe. No one on the crossing up to third. So the plan is, the idea is, with you brake progressively. You're always, when you use your brake, you're slowly increasing the pressure, but you want to use it as little as possible. So I'll describe the various situations that we're going to get into here, and I want to get into a busy situation if I can. Some traffic lights ahead, checking the mirror early and moving out for a right turn. Vehicle behind's not too close. Now the lights are green at the moment, but I've got to be prepared for them to change. I want to get going if possible. Now I've got no choice but to apply the brakes here, but gently and progressively, not braking hard. And when we come to a stop, just ease off the brake before the car stops so that it doesn't rock when you come to a stop. So you apply your brakes as gently as you can. Just at the moment the car's just about to stop, lift your foot off the brake pedal, and that will prevent the car rocking. So I'm looking well ahead, way up the road. Got somebody right in front of me here. I'm not quite sure what he's doing. So I'm not touching the gas. I'm off the gas. Now I'm back on. Didn't touch the brakes. Mirror. Car at the moment fairly close behind. Looking well ahead. No problems at the moment at all. Got a bus approaching. Junction on the left is clear. Man in the road just ahead. Shouldn't be a problem for me. Out towards the centre. Being mindful of the approaching bus. Mirror. Car behind's closer than she should be, but not too bad. Is this man going to use the crossing? No, he's not. Back on the gas. Just touch the brakes very, very gently there. Wasn't sure what that pedestrian was going to do. It's a good question whether this is a technique that learners can use. Up to a point, I would say certainly practicing it needs to be done under supervision. If you're a new driver, be very careful about trying to drive without using your brakes. But essentially that's what it is. We're trying to deal with as many situations as we can without using the brakes. So I've got a roundabout ahead, possibility of elderly people. Vehicle behind is well back. I'm already backed off the gas. I haven't touched the brakes yet. But now I'm going to have to brake a little bit because visibility is poor on the right. I'm taking third. Clutch up. Just off the brakes now. Looking to the right. Safe to go. There is the signal to leave the roundabout. Again, eyes on main beam. Lifting my vision up. No problems ahead. The van parked on the left. Mirror. Need to move out, checking the rear and right mirrors before moving out towards the centre. One approaching, two approaching. Now I'm going to take the right turn a little way ahead. I'm off the gas already, just covering the gas pedal, making my signal for the right turn now. But I'm going to have to apply the brakes here because there's a lot of oncoming traffic. But gently as possible, leaving space for oncoming. Actually the black car on my right. Into second gear, off the brake, clutch up. Whenever you're taking a bend or a turn, try and do the braking before. You don't want to be braking through a turn, through a corner or through a bend. Get the braking done first, get your gear change done first, and then back on your gas. When you're using your brake, there's a trade-off between your brakes and your steering, so the more braking you're using, the less free your steering is, and vice versa. So always try and do your braking before you steer. Now I've got to brake to a stop here, but I'm doing it as gently as possible, easing off at the moment of stopping so the car doesn't rock. Taking my gear, checking the mirrors, still got oncoming traffic. Checking the mirrors again, and we're safe to move away. One followed me into the tunnel, following quite closely. Checking the man on the left, keeping an eye on him. And we're doing a steady 30 now, just a light gas pressure. One come out to join us on the right, approaching traffic, junction on the right, mirror. Vehicle behind, fairly well back. Hills are very useful. Gradients. Got a roundabout a little way ahead, it's on a slight uphill. And of course you can use the uphill instead of your brakes. If you act early enough, come off the gas, let the hill take the speed off. Nature's brake is one instructor calls it. Just let gravity do the job for you, and that way you're not using your brakes. Obviously, this technique of using the brakes as little as possible must not override safety, must not compromise safety. If you've got to use your brake, you've got to use your brake. But by letting the weight of the car, letting the gradients do the work for you sometimes, it saves a lot of braking. So I've got a roundabout coming up, there's a slight uphill gradient, I'm checking the mirror. I'm going to come off the gas any moment now, so now I'm off the gas, letting the gradient take my speed off. I'm almost slowing up for a second now, looking to the right. I'm taking second, still haven't touched the brakes, just touched them a little, but I'm safe to go through. Back on the gas. And left signal to exit the roundabout. Crossing's clear. The other thing that's very important for this braking technique is to be aware of what the following distances are at the various speeds. I did do a video some time ago called Following Distances, which was for learners, advanced drivers, learners and remedial. So I won't go over those here, but you can check that out on that video, Following Distances. You need to know what sort of distance you need to be from vehicles ahead, so that you're not having to brake harshly. You don't want to be jumping on your brakes every time the man in front's jumping on his. So get to know those following distances, so you've always got plenty of space, so that if there is a development suddenly ahead of you, the brake lights come on ahead of you, you've got time to deal with it wherever possible without using your brakes at all. What you see often on the motorway is people following so closely that the guy in front touches his brakes, the guy behind touches his brakes, and so often there's almost an accident. But if you keep your following distance, get to know what they are, keep those distances, you won't be overreacting using the brake more than necessary. I'm off the gas already here, mirrors, making the signal, trickling up to the line. I'm going to need the brake because it's a busy road, but as gently as possible and into first. Always planning whenever we can to keep the car moving. I'm going to have to stop here because I've got a number of vehicles approaching from the right and one reversing out just across the road. So the handbrake's on, checking both directions. And I can see through the trees on the right, I can see some red lights, so I know there's some there's a crossing or a junction up there. Checking right now, checking left. We have a space coming up, so here's our opportunity, and I should see some lights once I get round this bend here. Green lights in the mirror. No one following at the moment. Quite a good space in the vehicle ahead. Is there anyone at the crossing? That's the next question. Do I have to prepare for that? No. No one waiting, so we can maintain our speed. Vehicle behind, fairly close. Just very gently on the gas, 25 at the moment, just picking it up a little bit now. 30 limit here, so just under 30. Just creeping up to 30 now. Car behind, a little better place, not quite so close. Always keep yourself up to date with what's happening behind you. Regular use of the mirrors, every time you see a hazard, out from my left, I'm going to have to touch the brakes. Got no choice here, but not too slow to let the Peugeot through. Trying to keep moving if possible. Got room enough there. Red light, so I haven't increased the gas, I'm just holding it still. I'm going to trickle up because there's no one behind, so I'm just trickling up to the line here slowly. I'm hoping to keep moving, but it's not looking very promising. Taking first just in case, because they should change any second, and away we go. So we didn't stop. Always try to keep the car moving, and thus you're going to minimise your brake wear. Got a bus ahead, check in the mirror. White van behind. I'm moving out to get a better view here because I don't know what the bus is going to do. I'm signalling to pass quite safely. Watching out for junctions on the left and the right. All clear. Got queuing traffic ahead and a green light. Up to 4, up to 30. I'm going to go right at the lights ahead. Just changed, so I'm easing off the gas slightly. I'm not slowing too much because I don't want to annoy the driver behind, but I'm off the gas altogether, and now I'm just gently bringing in the brakes, very, very gently. No one behind me now, the van's coming alongside, so clutch down, just trickling up to the back of the van and easing off at the moment of stopping so we don't rock the car, and brake at neutral. It's a good idea if you're wanting to learn advanced techniques to get the police driver's handbook, which is called Roadcraft, and this the brake skills are in page 104 in Roadcraft. I think the latest edition is 2013. Page 104 will tell you all about braking skills. We're waiting for our opportunity now to turn right. Got no choice but to stop here because there's a lot of oncoming traffic. I'm going to leave it in first because I want to brake promptly. The lights have changed. Looking well ahead. Crossing ahead. No one waiting, so we can pick up speed. Traffic followed me off the junction now. And into fourth. No one at the crossing, quite safe. More green lights up ahead. There's every likelihood that those green lights up the road ahead are going to change before I get there. I'm in a 40. I don't want to slow everybody down, so I'm picking up speed, but those lights may well change. The question to ask on a green light is if they change, can I stop? So I'm touching the brakes now, bringing the speed down as smoothly and as progressively as possible. Not braking hard, not racing up too fast. Clutch down now, and then just easing off at the moment of stopping so that the car doesn't rock. If you're doing a part 2 as a trainee, you don't want to be rocking the car when you pull up. It needs to be smooth by just easing back on the brake at the moment of stopping. Looking well ahead. I've got amber lights up ahead. I'm in a 40 here. So although there's amber lights, I can't go too slow, I'll annoy following drivers, so but I'm just about 30, 35, keeping behind the drivers on the right. Still got red lights here, mirror. Now I'm off the gas, I've been off the gas for a few moments, I'm letting the hill take some of the speed out. I haven't touched the brake yet. Now clutch down, and now gently bringing the brakes in. Quite busy today. Time now is a little after 4 o'clock. Checking all the mirrors before we move away. Making sure I keep space in the vehicle in front so I don't have to brake hard repeaters. And now we can gather speed. Still in a 40. Traffic's moving well. I can see green lights at the top of the hill. Vehicle behind is not close. I'm looking now to see, are there any pedestrians here? It's all clear, so I don't have to slow at all. I can maintain my speed, mirror. I've got some red lights up ahead, mirror. queuing traffic, so I'm off the gas now. Not altogether, but just a little, because the guy behind's closed up quite a bit. Now I'm right off the gas, just letting the car roll up. I've covered the brake, and now I'm introducing braking very gently. Keeping the back of the car, tyres of the car in front inside. The lights have changed, so I'm not going to put the handbrake on. I'm into one, and I've set the clutch. Checking all the mirrors. So, barely any touching the brake at all there. Quite a bit of traffic still. Still in a 40. More lights ahead. See green lights just on the bend. So I'm looking out for pedestrians, so I'm not braking late. Right behind quite close. No sign of any pedestrians at the moment. Still looking carefully. It's quite safe to accelerate now. See green lights ahead. Guy behind's quite close. Closer than he should be. Looking now for pedestrians. I don't want to be braking hard. No pedestrians on the left, no pedestrians on the right, so we can pick up speed here right up to 40. I'm going to take the underpass. So just to repeat one or two things, the more you get used to this habit of engine braking, just letting the car wherever possible slow itself down using gradients and so forth, you're going to save brake pads, you're going to save petrol, and you're going to save tyre wear. Might not seem much, but I'm sure it adds up over time, especially if you do a lot of driving, a company driver or something like that. Although most company drivers don't worry too much because it's not their vehicle. I know that, of course. Crossing's clear, mirror, no need to slow yet. Now I'm taking the exit on the right, and I'm off the gas already, signalling. Now I'm going to have to touch the brakes just gently, but I want to progressively bring the speed down as gently as possible, with as little braking as possible. Clutch down. Backing off the brake at the moment of stopping, handbrake and neutral. Again, just to repeat the safety factors of this, you're giving more time for other drivers to react to what you're doing. You're not making sudden movements. You're giving a smoother ride for your passengers, and your vehicle is going to be more stable if you're braking before bends and turns. Don't brake on the bend, don't brake on the turn if you can possibly get out. Checking all three mirrors here, ensuring it's clear ahead and on the right. Always make sure you've got that space again between yourself and the vehicle in front, so if he reacts late or is taken by surprise, you've got lots of space to deal with it. You're going to save braking that way. So very simply summed up, you're braking as little as possible. You want to use your brakes as little as possible, but never compromise safety, and don't annoy other drivers with going too slow. So that's it for today. That's advanced braking technique. Hope that was helpful. There are one or two great sites on YouTube. I would thoroughly recommend Reg Local, who's a very skilled ex-police driver. Lots of videos from Reg Local. One of the best I've seen, James Ward. There's only a few of James Ward, but he's another ace. Well worth having a look at. Reg Local, James Ward. Thanks for watching.